All right, everyone, we are going to get started. Looks like everyone has found a table. Happy to have you guys here today at our workshop, People Drive Culture, and Culture is Everything. This is a monthly workshop that we do. The intent is for it to be very interactive so that we get to know one another, we get to learn from one another, we get to share our experiences. We just believe that when you're able to connect with others, you're able to collaborate more, which happens to be our topic of conversation for today. We know that we don't have all of the answers, and all of you have great experiences, and we want to make sure that we're able to share those with one another. So this will be interactive. We'll break out into our tables and have some table talk a couple of times today. So if you're new to Let's Go platform, this is an awesome platform that we've been using now for several months and in different ways. And you can see on the left-hand side, there's a little arrow, which you've probably seen. If you click that, that'll open up the map on the left-hand side. And so you'll be able to see the tables that you're at, the lobby. If you need to step away for a second, there's a step away table that you can go join that's in the foyer. So this is meant to be a more interactive experience. And so you feel like you're at an event versus on a virtual platform. If you're interested in Let's Go for your own organization, reach out to me afterwards or to Jen. And we'd be happy to get you in touch with Jay or Alex from Let's Go. We've really enjoyed this, and I think it could be great for any organization for your town hall meetings and things like that. So let me know if you're interested. So today as I mentioned, we're focusing on collaboration. So this is the Keystone Impact Model. And so these are the areas that we feel impact your organization, both from a business side and from a human side. And where the magic is what is the intersection of the business needs and the human needs. And the focus area today for that intersection is collaboration. And so I'm very excited to bring Addie Graham-Kramer to the stage here. If you want to join me up on stage. Building a collaborative culture is something that Addie is extremely passionate about and just loves. And so as I was hearing her talk about her 6 steps that her and her organization have created to building a collaborative culture, I was like, this needs to be on our workshop. This is such great information. So Addie, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, good morning, Sioux. This is going to be a fun day. I love the interactive piece, so it's going to be awesome.
Good. Do you want to just give a quick introduction of you and your organization, the event company?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I am Addie Graham-Kramer. I am founder and CEO of the event company. We are an award-winning and internationally recognized event design and production team that focuses on corporate, nonprofit, and social events. So whether you're planning a 2-day hybrid conference, a fundraising gala, the social event of the season, our team makes it happen. So over the last 9 years, we've been a part of a little over 425 events in 19 different states, soon to be 20. We've got fundraising events that have topped just a little over $10 million and guest counts that range close to 200,000 people. So our team is a powerful team. We've got 16 females that are on our team that really make it happen day in and day out. So both with international clients as well as national clients as well.
And when you're running events of that magnitude, I can imagine collaboration is a key skill that you need on every single person on that team.
Yeah, it is a team effort. It has been from day one. And my background in working with big national brands really helped to kind of elevate us into that mix. So it's been fun.
Yeah, awesome. So what I want to know from you out of the get-go here is a little bit about collaboration and why you feel it's important in the environment that we're in today. So our definition, we have a definition for every single one of our building blocks on the impact model. And so our definition of collaboration is that in order to have a really great culture, you have to create the conditions. You have to create the environment for collaboration. It doesn't just happen. It has to be an environment that's created. And so if we can create this environment of teamwork where people are working together towards a very common goal, we'll be able to achieve better collaboration if our people understand their own skills, what the skills and knowledge and abilities are of each of their teammates, and then how do we work together to collaborate using each of our individual skills, knowledge, abilities to then make the best decision to move things forward. So it really allows every team member to work together as equals rather than one person feeling like they're better than someone or feeling like they're lower than someone. It's really a collaborative environment where everyone feels that kind of sense of belonging and purpose to what they're doing. So I want to understand from you, why are you passionate about collaboration and why is it important in today's environment?
Well, from our perspective, well, first of all, I've always been passionate about collaboration. One of my first parties, I was actually 11 years old. So I tried to unify and bring people together. When I was 11 years old, saved up all of my babysitting money, hosted this big party, an after school party. We had a DJ. I know catering, we had all the things. So even at that, and I charged people to get in, of course, like a young entrepreneur.
You were a young entrepreneur. You go, girl.
But I always have been passionate about that, about bringing people together. And obviously the work that we do in the event company day in and day out, that is what we do, right? We bring people together, we unify people. And from my perspective, collaboration allows us on the event side, also as individuals, to be open to seeing different ways to do things, different perspectives, experience new things, but do so by unifying people together. And I think over these last 9 years of just even within the event company, that has really allowed us to be more productive together. It allows us to enhance our relationships, not only internally with our team members, we call ourselves dream builders, also with our clients too. So it allows us to kind of better understand people when we've got that unification and we're on that same playing field, like you kind of mentioned, Chelsey. But another big benefit from our standpoint is we push out a better product day in and day out because we are quick to make adaptations if we need to. We can quickly, the word of 2020, pivot if we need to, because we are in succinct communications and we collaborate together. So there's a lot of benefits from not just that unification, but also being more productive. It allows us to have those relationships. But a big thing too, is it also allows us as a team to be able to be more innovative together. With us working with, we have got international partners, we've got national clients. Really, when we're building these products together through events, whether it's a platform, whether it's a 3-day conference, whatever it happens to look like, it allows us to be more innovative together because we're on that same page. So it just allows a better dialogue and better conversation. But then the best product and the best part of that collaboration piece from our perspective is it allows our team members to be more engaged with each other, truly. I always say this when we're on site at events and you're on site for 15 plus hours at one event, you better like who you're working with, right?
Absolutely.
And if you don't, it's not going to make for a good experience for anybody. So that collaboration piece really comes together through our culture day in and day out, no matter where we're at.
Yeah. So I'm curious, as you have built this organization, you didn't start with 16 employees, I imagine. And so, so as you've grown, where did this idea and belief in collaboration kind of present itself and say, this is what we need in order for our organization to be successful?
I think from my perspective, I took things that I had learned by working with other national brands over the years and traveling a lot and doing events all over the country. I learned things that I liked and that I didn't like, right? And I was able to experience different things, but also I was able to see how some of our clients do things. So from our perspective, while we focus on that collaboration and that culture of collaboration internally, we are also part of hosting events for other companies and corporations where we have to do that for them, right? So whether it's team retreats, whether it's team building exercises, where they have collaboration stations, like whatever that looks like. So we're a part of not only internally, but also that external piece. So we've started from day one, I would like to say, but also it's something that we work on every single day from our leadership team and pushing it out. We'll talk a little bit later about we don't work in the model of you work for us. It's the leadership team and we work for our team members, right? So we serve them. We have that servant attitude and we'll talk about that today. But it's something that we have slowly integrated and worked on every single day. And today when we talk and do our little table talks, in that discussion, I think we'll have good dialogue about what if I don't have these 6 steps, right? Like it took us a while to develop these pieces. We've just been very diligent over the last few years of implementing them and working on them. And we're not perfect every single day, but it's how we work on those things. We're very cognizant about it, not only internally, but also as we have our events externally with our clients too.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you say this is something that you continue to work on every day. So as we talk about culture and growing and building your culture, growing and building your teams and your leadership abilities, you're never done, wash your hands of this and walk away, woo, right? This is something that we need to constantly be working on in the environment that we're in, as you've mentioned over the last few years, and that's not going to change. I mean, COVID was a big situation, but prior to that, there was lots of change going on, lots of things, popping in and surprising us and taking us off our guards. And so we need to continuously be iterating and improving and making those changes. And so collaboration is exactly the same. We need to keep working at it and getting better at it. You add a new team member, that adds a whole different dynamic to the collaboration. You got to figure out, how do we collaborate with this person?
Yeah, and we're very intentional and purposeful about what we do and how we integrate it within the team, whether it's a new process that we're building out and how do we get everybody on the same page. Change is hard for a lot of people. And I think there's just a lot of different tools to be able to do so. And some of these 6 steps that we'll talk about today will help to hopefully aid those that are trying to figure out the collaboration wheel and what does it look like. But also on the other side of it, that collaboration model is going to be different for everybody, whether you're in manufacturing, whether you're in event side, whether you are in PR, whatever it happens to look like, that collaboration model has to fit to you. So when we talk through what those 6 ways are today, not everyone may match what you want it to be in your own company or your organization, but it just has to fit and you have to work it, right? Like it's not going to work if you don't work it. We always talk about that piece of it. So it's very intentional and very purposeful.
Well, let's dig into these 6 steps. So you've built these 6 steps over the years. It's like you said, wasn't something that happened overnight. This was something that was really created. So help us understand, what are the 6 steps and defining what they mean and kind of what does good look like with each one of these steps?
Perfect. Can we see screen okay?
Yep, looks good.
Perfect. Good. So as Chelsey kind of said, collaboration in a culture, it takes work every single day, but to us, culture is everything. And the 6 ways that we talk about how we're transforming our company culture to be more collaborative is something that we truly do work at every single day. Now, when we will talk through what each of these 6 steps mean here, we'll have a little bit of dialogue. And I think if there is opportunity, Chelsey, I don't know if there is, for questions from the group, we can certainly take that then. Otherwise, when we do our table talks, this will be where we dive a little bit deeper into it. And we'll be jumping around into the tables as well. So, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead. Okay. That sounds great.
Correct. Well, relationships to us are number 1. That's our first way that we integrate this into our company. We talk a lot about technology and what that does to bring us together. I think the pandemic allowed a lot of companies to look at things a little bit differently and how do we shift and to integrate some of the technology into the mix. You heard me talk a little bit ago about servant leadership, so we'll talk more about what that means. But we also create opportunities for our team to collaborate. Collaboration is not going to happen if we do not create those opportunities. So we'll share more about what that looks like. Open door policy, feedback is encouraged always, no matter what part of the day it is. No matter if we're on-site, off-site, wherever we're at, we always encourage that feedback. But another big part of how we get that employee engagement to where we want it to be is we make time on our team to get out and about. So the first piece, as I kind of mentioned before, how relationships are number 1. We always talk about what is the chatter happening outside of the 4 walls of our office. So we prioritize all of those relationships day in and day out. We do so not only internally with each other, but with all of our dream builders that are on the team, whether you're full-time, part-time, whether you're one of our partners coming in and taking photographs for the night. All of our clients we prioritize those relationships, but also within our community. So we make time to be able to prioritize what those relationships are. But we're very diligent, and you'll hear me talk more today about that purposefulness. So we're very intentional about what those relationships look like. Now, this doesn't mean we're going to have cocktails with our clients day in and day out. It's just how we steward our team members is how we steward our clients as well, because we are the same. We're the same. So we want to make sure that those relationships are always number 1 to us. From your perspective, Chelsey, how have you seen this within your own company from the relationship side?
Yeah. So in the way that we talk about this is trust.
Yeah.
right? In order to create trust, you have to build relationships.
Right.
That is the first step in building trust. And trust is a cornerstone of every relationship, of every company, of every client relationship, right? You have to have that trust, and you build that through relationships. And that's not a one-time, one conversation situation, right? This is something that is built over time, and it's brick by brick that you build relationships. So I completely agree that this is number one.
Yeah, I worked in a company before in the past where those relationships, it was like you came into work, you sat in your cubicle and you put in your 8 hours and you were gone, right? There was not a lot of conversation. I did not stay at that company very long because it just was not good energy. There was no relationship or time to even build relationships within. And when we're even hosting our own events, we always talk about, especially conferences, we need to build in time to build those relationships. Yes, we have content, we need to get it out, but just like this morning, right? We had a few minutes to jump into separate rooms together to really craft and hone in on what those relationships are. So it's very important for us. And that's one of our number one ways to help integrate that collaboration within our culture.
And I look at the environment that we're in today, people are craving relationships. They're craving deeper connection and more meaningful, purposeful relationships within their work environments, which is why, as a big part of the reason why you're seeing this great resignation, because people don't feel connected. They don't feel like there's a collaborative environment because there's not relationships that they have. There's nothing sticky that's keeping them there.
I will tell you just anecdotally from the event side of things, over the last year, our events, it's rare that we are either starting on time or ending on time. And I don't pride myself in that, but it's because of the relationship piece, those social hours for conferences or networking hours or coffee time or even big galas. Like, they are standing around, they're having conversation with each other. It's hard to get people to sit down. So it's that fine line, right? From my standpoint, you're backstage, we're like, let's go, we got to get moving. But it's also the piece that really helps our companies thrive and our relationships.
Awesome. Great number one. What's number two?
Number two is practicing servant leadership. So we get in, we do the work, but as a leadership team, we lead by example. So we know when it's time for us to step back and let them lead. And so they can collaborate on their own. As a leader, I will tell you, especially as a founder, it's hard to step out of that role sometimes. But for us, in order for us to be able to succeed and be able to do so, we lead with the mindset of our team members are first. We serve them, right? They don't serve us. So we talk about that a lot on the team. Like, how can we help you? What can we do to make you be better, to do better? But the trust piece is a big part of it as well. You can't have a servant leadership within your company if you do not have that trust factor. And we are very diligent and, again, very intentional about our hiring process as well, making sure that it's a good fit for not just us, but also for that individual. As I talked about before, you're on site at an event for so many hours. You really want to be connected with that person, have that trust. So it's very important. But we also have a really we're very transparent about a lot of decisions that are made on our team, not only just with our leadership team, but also in our event design teams as well, and our creative teams. So we're very transparent about decisions that are made, new clients that we may onboard, what proposals that we have out there for other teams or other clients to bring into the mix. Because we operate with partners across the globe and have clients across the globe, we're very transparent in who comes into the mix. It needs to be a good fit for us as well. So, there's some organizations that do interviews and trying to figure out if they're a good match for them. We do somewhat the same as well, making sure that it's a good fit for us. But on the other side of that, making sure it's a good fit, we also create very intentional spaces for our leadership team when we're having conversations with our team. And that leads to greater engagement. So we're very intentional about the time that we spend with our different huddles and what they look like, but also giving our team members time to be able to share what they need to. And that kind of goes back to our servant leadership piece of it.
Yeah. And so I did a quick post yesterday about the fact that I was going to be talking with you, that you're going to be dropping value bombs on us. I feel like you just dropped so many value bombs I wanted to just step into real quick. Transparency is so big. And I feel like there's so many times leaders feel like, oh, this is a leadership decision. And so this is just for us to know. We made it in the boardroom. And so we're not going to share any of this. Well, there might be a handful of things that you might not want to share with your organization. The vast majority of your decisions, I would say 95 to 98%, are things that can and should be shared with your team. So that you can build relationships, number one. You can act like a servant leader. meaning that you're trying to, I'm a huge fan of servant leadership, meaning that you're really trying to serve the needs of your team, not the wants of your team, right? It's not like, oh, I want this, I want that, you're going to get everything you want. That's not servant leadership.
Right.
It's about what do we need to be successful, and they need transparency. They need to understand how and why our decisions being made. So yes, awesome.
Yeah, so many times I think leaders that I have been around in the past sugarcoat things, and then you've got this thing that's dropped on you, or like, what just happened here? Like, there's no warning, there's no conversation that's being had, and it's hard for people to adjust. And sometimes it makes people close up and it's done. So we just have not operated in that way. But also, I will say that this has been one that I practice personally at home with my husband. He's also an entrepreneur. And with our children, we're very transparent about decisions, but also conversations that we have. So this is a hard one, I think, for people. If you have not been around it, maybe a harder one to adjust to. But it is one that we practice day in and day out. Nobody is better than anybody else on the team. We have that servant attitude. In our line of business, in hospitality, we also serve others, but it allows us to serve our internal team members so we can then serve our clients.
Yeah. And the other thing that you mentioned was giving people the time that they need, the space that they need, and ensuring your meetings, your daily huddles, your weekly team meetings, whatever it might be, are impactful. And that, again, it is what your people need. So many people are like, oh, another meeting. This is so, I'm not getting anything out of this, poking in the eyeball, right?
I know.
But if we're asking people, what do you need? What do you want out of these meetings? Let's create a meeting that is impactful for them, not just what we think needs to be done. So I think that was a great point.
Yeah. And when you have that collaborative model within your culture, it does create efficiencies as well, right? So you're not dreading the meeting because you don't know what you're talking about. There's a lot of things that you can implement, from EOS to just different structures of your team meetings and what they look like. But when you've got that communication and that collaboration, those meetings also are more effective in what you're doing. So it allows for a lot easier growth. But
okay, what's 3?
3 is technology. I will tell you that technology has drastically changed the way we do things, not only with internal, but also external. So finding those right tools that work for you, and then you make it work, right? Even though our offices, when we moved spaces, as our team continued to grow, we kind of built our spaces like how Google has their pods. So our pods of individuals, we still have technology that we integrate in from things like Slack. We utilize Asana for project management, the Google Drive, we've got Zoom, we do recordings via Loom. Like, there's so many different ways to be able to integrate it in. And I know some of these terms might not be familiar with everyone joining us today. I'm happy to talk offline about them, but they are tools that if there's ways where you need to just try to unify people together within a team, it allows you to do so because it streamlines communications. Like Slack, for example, we have different Slack channels so we don't have 900 emails coming in about a color of a linen, right? We're able to kind of streamline our conversations. But also from a project management standpoint, all of our clients, we have them all in separate boards, in our Asana boards. Do you use a certain project management tool, Chelsey?
Oh, no, we don't.
Okay. So some groups use Trello, some use Basecamp, some use Asana. There's so many different versions out there. Asana has been one that's been integrated for us because it allows us to build in our timelines and our deadlines. We're very deadline and timeline driven. So the nice part about Asana is it alerts us when things are due or when we've got an upcoming deadline, or if somebody leaves a comment in something. So it allows us to streamline our communications so we can collaborate more and not be just in the nitty-gritty of emails day in and day out.
Well, I believe some of those technology platforms are even free. If you use like your basic, I think Trello is free if you use just like your basic version. And so this isn't like, oh, I got to spend a ton more money for this technology.
No,
you don't.
Not at all. And I mean, for us, Slack, I think there's certain versions of Slack or how many conversations you can have for free. We utilize one because we got so many team members, but also some of our clients are on it as well, which I will tell you is such a blessing because then we can integrate our conversations through that way as well. Again, it saves on some of those pieces. So we have the fortunate opportunity to work with MIT on their events. And I will tell you that is one organization that I have envied for many years, but to be in the trenches with them to see how they integrate their conversations. The majority of their conversations are all done through Slack as well as Google. So their conversations are very streamlined. They're very diligent and about their process. So those are ones that we have adopted over the last few years. There are apps for a lot of the things that I've kind of mentioned on the screen as well, but it allows us to be able to collaborate and not be in the nitty gritty of emails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like I mentioned at the get-go, this Let's Go platform.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
This is a different, new, more engaging platform that is meant to do exactly what you're talking about, to build collaboration, to build community. You can create different floors on the far left-hand side of, different departments or teams or whatever. You can have your all team meetings in here and have the breakout tables, make it feel, rather than having, 100 people on Zoom, you can have these tables where you're able to talk amongst yourselves like you are right now and listen to the CEO or whomever giving a company update. So I think there's a lot of things out there. You just have to be open to trying new things and see what works best for your organization.
Yeah. And believe it or not, so we were using Zoom well before pandemic. And when we had started utilizing Zoom, it was a client that brought it to us that does a lot of international work. And I thought, my gosh, this thing's never going to take off ever. And now we are in the trenches with it day in and day out from those platforms like Let's Go, WebEx, all these different things. But it's just one thing that allows us to have those conversations. And from our standpoint, especially if you work with clients that are not just local or even team members that are local, if you've got team members that are across the world, it allows you to unify people together. Again, it's that collaboration piece.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and technology only works if your people use it.
Yeah.
Right. People will blame technology. Oh, it doesn't work. Well, are your people actively using it? Do they know how to best utilize it? Do they know the best practices? Have you trained them in on what your expectations are around this technology?
Right. Now, I will say, again, all transparency, Asana was a harder one for us to get everybody on board with because we had been utilizing different platforms in the past, or even just Google Sheets or whatever it was looking like. So it was a harder one to get into the mix, to be able to adapt and go. But in the long run, it saves us so much time because we can focus our energies on other things versus trying to find a spreadsheet or searching through all your emails. It just funnels everything in there nicely. So I equate Asana to Post-its. It allows us to have Post-its of different things up there. I don't know if you like Post-its, but I used to have lots
of Post-its, but they fall off the wall frequently. And so
these do not fall off the wall, Chelsey. So it's easy and they're all in one platform, which is awesome.
All right, what's number 4?
Number 4, we create those opportunities. Many on our team, especially I would assume you would see too, is we learn by doing. So we are very deliberate, we're very purposeful about creating those opportunities. So whether it's different team projects, we have an actual kind of lounge area in our office. We call it the Dream Big Lounge. That's where people have that open space to be able to do whatever they need to. At the top of the screen there, you can see Allie is doing some work kind of on that couch space. So it allows us to make those spaces for them to collaborate, to dream big together. But also we create opportunities to travel together. We try to, whether it's locally or whether it's in other states, we create those opportunities for us to get outside of the office for our retreats and travel. Our last retreat that we just hosted here at the end of July was actually just really across the wall at our office here at a different location at a loft. So while it wasn't too far for travel at all, literally steps, it allowed us to get outside of our building, be in a whole nother space for a day and a half together. So it's again being purposeful in creating those opportunities to allow them to collaborate. If you don't allow that time, it's not going to happen. So this is one from a leadership standpoint, you're thinking, oh, do we need to do this? And what the time's ticking away. If we don't allow them to do it and dream big together, it's not going to happen. So this is one that I find when I have conversations with other leaders, like what's the biggest pain point? It's trying to find and create those opportunities to do so.
Yeah. Well, and we do full day strategy sessions with our clients around their business strategy, their culture strategy, their people strategy. And I require them to not meet in their office. They either have to come to our office or we have to go to a hotel conference room or we go somewhere else so that they're not in their business.
Right.
So that we can create that opportunity to collaborate. Because if you're in the business, you feel in the business. And so I think that's great. And the other thing I was going to mention is we did at Keystone a team retreat back in February down to Sedona. And I felt like we gained 5 years worth of collaboration, relationship building, opportunities to connect because we traveled together. I always say that with someone's gonna get married, I'm like, have you traveled with your potential spouse before? Because you just learn so much about one another when you travel.
Right. And it doesn't need to be like, I know there are organizations and companies that have thousands of staff that they can't take everybody away. But perhaps it's even like just what you said, Chelsey, even if it's stepping outside to a different location in your same town, down the street, whatever it looks like, just to be able to create that space for them to do so. I think it's very important. One thing that we also do to create those opportunities for our team members, our offices are closed on Fridays unless we host events or have things happening. So we are also very purposeful. Maybe you got one of these, Chelsey, an out of office response that says our offices are closed on Fridays, like Thursdays are our Fridays, and we take that time to be with family, friends, whatever it looks like. Now, in all, over the last couple of years, there are times that we've had to work on Fridays, of course, to kind of either catch up on things or we're again on site with events, but we're very intentional about our communication with our clients so they understand and can respect those boundaries so we can create those opportunities for our team members to do what they need to do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, 5.
5 is feedback is always encouraged. I have never been one of those people that have said, nope, don't talk to me now. I have the office closed. I had a leader when I worked at the Argus Leader who would walk the floors and talk to all the team members. He was a publisher and would walk up and down talking to people. I have always found that to be very important for us, not only from the relationship side of things, but also we need to be able to communicate and allow them to communicate back with us. So constant communication is very important on our team. We host weekly huddles within each of the different divisions of our company, but also we have one company meeting every single week. We do monthly one-on-ones lately, actually not lately, but over the last few years, we've been doing walking one-on-ones. So whether it's me or another staff member, we just walk for 15 minutes to 20 minutes on our one-on-ones downtown. Now in the trenches of the winter, that might not be happening, but we do allow ourselves to be able to get outside and do those one-on-ones that are important. But we also have self-assessments as well. So our annual review process is very different. Unlike a lot of other companies, there is no special scoring. There is no special rubric to it. It allows our team members to do a self-assessment of themselves and to have a dialogue with that leadership team about what that looks like, how they can be better, things that they've done great this year, where they need to grow. But it's a self-assessment. It's not a hard review process. And that I took from another company where we hosted these things. We kind of call them, they can be called stay interviews. Some other organizations that I've worked with in the past call them stay. So not, sometimes we get to a point where we're doing exit interviews with those that may not be on our team any longer. Well, why don't you think a little proactively and think differently and host stay interviews? So the self-assessment is more of that stay piece of it. And that has been eye-opening on our team these last few years, probably 4 or 5 years. We've implemented this self-assessment into the mix. That's been very important. But then our company retreats, we pride ourselves and we spend a lot of time. We plan obviously events for everyone else. And sometimes we can be the worst party planners for ourselves. But over the last few years, we have truly changed our mindset and saying, if we are investing thousands of dollars in retreats for our team members, then we need to invest the time to do so. So we just finished up reading The Energy Bus. I don't know if you've read that book before. It's so good. Here's a copy of it right here.
I highly recommend it for everyone.
Highly recommend it. So we did it as a team exercise and kind of process, and every team member on our team had to take one of the rules from the bus. So at our team retreats, it's not just me talking, and we pull in other third-party individuals as well to help facilitate, but we allow our team members to also teach others in our company retreats. So again, it talks about being very purposeful, how our feedback is always encouraged, but allows them to shine as well.
That's so great. And I just laugh when you say that you're an event planning organization and you struggle to plan events for yourself. I find this with organizations all over the place. It's like, we're the best at doing this for our clients, but we suck at it internally.
Yeah.
So just it's not that you're not capable. It's just you're putting all of your energy, all your energy outward to your clients. And again, we're talking about culture here. We're talking about people drives culture. Culture is everything. We need to invest our time and our energy and our resources into our people first. And then we will have that excellent client experience that you're aiming for.
Right. The top picture there on the screen, that was just our recent retreat here. Remember I talked about just on the other side of our office building. This is exactly where it was at. It was at a nice loft space, but this is kind of winding down part of the night. We did a game, we did some conversation out there, but it allowed us to actually connect and be with each other right outside of the four walls. So it's pretty important. Now, when we talk about making time to get out and about, we work hard and play hard every single day. Event planning is one of the top 10 most stressful jobs. If you look in Huffington Post, USA Today, they've always said it's one of the top 10 most stressful jobs. And I will tell you, it most certainly is, but there's so many rewards from that servant leadership side. So we are very purposeful about making time to get out and about. about. Now, outside of what we do for our retreats, we also host really awesome team outings. We have an individual on our team, and we've been very purposeful about bringing this person into the mix so she can help with some of these things. Her role is called a happiness coordinator. So with that role, she helps to ensure everyone on the team has what they need, other special projects that our clients may need, but she also focuses on helping to plan the in-office celebrations, the birthday celebrations, our team outings. She works very closely with our leadership team to also plan our retreats. So again, we were purposeful about hiring a position to help take that load off of anyone on the leadership team. It was scary at first, I will tell you, because I'm like, what is she going to do, right? Like, what are we going to have her do? We don't need somebody to just run errands and do those things. We need somebody to be very purposeful about that position. And I will tell you, she joined our team almost 6 months ago, and it has been truly amazing and such a blessing to our team. So yes, there's an investment to being able to do all these things on the screen, but it doesn't have to be elaborate as hiring somebody like her. But we are very, again, purposeful about how we get out and about in the community, whether it's volunteering, whether it's doing things together, whether the last screen, I don't know if this, or last picture on the screen, the team dressed up as me for Halloween one year. So there's just a lot of fun energy within the team that creates that engagement. But if we aren't out and about outside of these four walls, it's harder to do so. Now, I'm seeing this kind of more, we're seeing it more prevalent in sports teams, and I'm sure you've seen this as well. John Gordon actually has a great book about it, but it's things that happen outside of the locker room or offside of the court. My little guy's football team, the coach actually just a few weeks ago invited all the players over to the house just to play and be together. And we're talking about 10-year-olds, so it's a little bit different, but it kind of goes into that same vein of like, you've got to get outside of those four walls to be together, to network together, to bond together, to learn about each other. That creates that engagement within each other, which creates that stronger culture within the team.
Yeah. And you say it's a 10-year-old, so it's a little different, but I beg to differ. I all the time relate being a leader to being a parent, and raising kids is the same thing as working with employees. I don't mean that to sound degrading or demeaning or anything like that, because there's just so many similarities. I have the same thing with my son. Is he was on the hockey team, and I mean, COVID, whatever. So we weren't able to do the outings and stuff. And until we were able to do that last year, that's when he started feeling like he was part of the team. We got to do the away tournaments. We got to do the parties at friends' houses in the backyard ponds. And that's when he started feeling like a team and loved it and couldn't wait to get to hockey the next time. So it's all about getting out and about and building relationships, building trust, all these things that you've been talking about. So
now we've got team members in like one in Reno, Nevada. So we bring her into the mix when we can, or there's other things. If you've got employees or staff members that are not within your same locale, there's ways to be able to bring them into the mix and get them engaged. But you have to be purposeful again about doing so. They're not just going to immediately pop on or be a part of packing meals for whoever. Like you've got to be intentional about how you're bringing them into the mix as well. Otherwise, if you don't, they're going to feel forgotten and not as a part of it. Yeah. Okay. So that was awesome. 6 steps to building collaboration. I'm going to post a board here so we can have a little bit of table talk talking about which one of these 6 steps is the most challenging for you, your team, your company. We'll take about 7-8 minutes here. So just a quick kind of round the table for each of you. Addie's going to hop into table 1. I'm going to hop into table 3 to help facilitate and listen for discussions. And we will hopefully, 1 or 2 of you will be willing to hop up to the front of the room with us after we're done to share one of your aha moments. So, or one of your comments. So Addie and I will be listening for someone who would maybe want to do that. So again, we'll take about 7-8 minutes here. I'll post the board and we can jump into our tables. Awesome. We'll see you over there.
Addie, our conversations were so good. What were yours?
Yeah, it was fun. Scott Gullickson is going to kind of share a little bit, and he has to pop off in just a minute or so.
Cool.
He wants to share more about from the technology. Yeah, it was good.
Great, Scott. If you want to jump up, just up on the top, hit join front of the room or hop in front of the room.
Yeah.
Yep. Hello, Scott.
Hi. Okay, I hit the right button. Good.
Yes, good job.
Good job. See, you're good at technology.
Yeah.
So what's your aha moment, or what's your challenge area?
Yeah, technology was kind of a theme with our table. And one piece that I brought up is, again, I do coaching. So I don't have a team of my own. It's just myself, but I work with leadership teams. And the technology piece is ultimately becomes an issue because they identify that there's a gap. Okay, here's where we're at today. Here's where we want to get to. How do we close that gap? So they end up setting goals around it, but then the goal is to roll it out. Well, like I told Addie, is it's never really completely rolled out because there's always improvements. There's always features that are getting added. So the biggest struggle that we've seen is having people actually get understanding why they're using this software. And that's the biggest gap, is why are we using it? Why the old, we've always done it this way mentality. So getting them to actually adapt it and use it, and then continuing to provide that management and leadership around, do they have the resources that they need to be leveraging it the right way? Do they know why they need to be using it? Do they know what they need to be doing it and what the expectations are for it too?
That's so good. And that goes with everything that we do. We need to help everyone understand why. Why are we making this change? Why are we hiring this person? Why are we buying this company? Why are we changing products? Why are we using this technology? Why are we doing this team outing, right? We need a purpose behind everything. So I think that was spot on, Scott.
Yeah. And it's revisiting it, right? So we talked about in every single one of our weekly meetings, like we talk about whatever the technology piece is. So it's always at the forefront, that people are not forgetting about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Scott.
Yeah. Thank you.
And then Jackie from table 3 was going to hop up here.
Oh, Jackie Swanstrom. Hi.
Hi, Addie. Well, first of all, thanks to Chelsey and Addie for giving us great insight today. I appreciate the leadership from both of you. And I take notes, so I'm going to reference my notes. I teased with our group, Addie, that if I had a fitness tracker, it'd be going off the walls here, because literally my heart is racing. I am so excited about everything you memorialized today. I feel like many of us feel like this is just like the model of excellence. So truly,
thank you.
It's amazing. And then I had also shared that the closed Fridays is something that I feel our organization does well also. We are only closed at noon. Sorry, my screen just pivoted here. And I think that's a game changer for team resets. And then my aha moment was your element on servant leadership of giving intentional spaces for engagement, team members time to share. And I think it's so important, not only that people can have a trusted, safe space to bring their whole self to work, but to be their whole self and engage in those ways. And oftentimes those different PIs can help. We do have PIs at work, but I think my aha moment is that we need to revisit those, and we need to uplift those that maybe need more encouragement to engage, and we need to be patient with those that maybe are more talk it out style people, and gravitate towards those unique components that make a team effective.
Yeah, not everybody's going to be very vocal and want to share all the time, right? And so it's allowing those people that space, like just what you're kind of reiterating, Jackie, that intentional space to be able to have those conversations. If we don't create those pieces, people do close up a little bit, but they also don't feel engaged, right? If it's like, I'm not a public speaker, I just want to be behind the scenes, or whatever it looks like, it's just allowing everybody really that space to be able to do what they want. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Jackie. Appreciate it.
Love the notes.
Such good notes. So just a couple of minutes left here. We are going to hop back to the tables. And what I want to hear from each of you, if you have time, if you have to jump, no worries. But in the spirit of collaboration and creating an opportunity to share and collaborate, we can stay in here as long as we want. So if you want to stay and chat with either Addie or myself or one another, the floor is yours. The tables are yours. You can hop around each table, whatever you'd like to do. If you want to connect with either myself or Addie, here are our email addresses and company websites. So feel free to reach out to either of us for further information. Our next workshop is going to be September 28th, same time, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you guys can join us then. So we're going to jump back to the tables here. And again, what is your first next step? What is the next thing that you're going to do to help build collaboration within your team or within your organization? We want this to be an actionable workshop for you, that you walk out with something that you're going to do differently, that you're going to create a change, a small change, incremental change to build more collaboration within your team, within your company. So Addie's going to hop back to table 1. I'll hop back to table 3 and look forward to more conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. And again, feel free to leave whenever you need to, but we'll be around for the next few minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Addie.